So, welcome to the Solidarity in Action Fundraising Webinar. My name is Lauren Dunlop, and I'm going to be leading the webinar with you today. Just to let you know, I'm going to go through a bit of the presentation first, and then I'm going to open it up for questions. Everyone is on mute right now except for myself, so don't worry if you're talking or you're coughing or anything like that. No one will be able to hear you, and then I'm going to unmute when it's time for questions, and then at the end you can either type out your questions or you can ask them. So let's get started. So as I said, my name is Lauren Dunlop, and I will be leading one of the trips to Peru. I am going to be leading Peru A. As well, we have our panelist here, Larry, and he's the Executive Director of Solidarity in Action. And Larry is going to be able to help answering any questions at the end of the webinar. So just a little bit of an outline of what you can expect for today. I'm just going to give you a little bit about Solidarity in Action in case you're not sure what it's about. We're going to talk about why you should fundraise, ideas for fundraising, what SIA can do to help you fundraise, what makes a good fundraiser, and I'm going to use the case study of the fundraiser that I ran last year. And then we're going to have a question and answer period, and you can ask or chat your questions. So just a little bit of a background, I fundraised my entire trip last year, plus a little bit of extra, which I brought down with me to aid in donating towards Youth in Action. So a little bit about Solidarity in Action. So who is Solidarity in Action? So it's an organization that was co-founded in 2005 by brothers Angus and Larry Shuttleworth, Larry who's with us today. And it's an organization that offers short-term travel opportunities to Peru for 2 weeks up to 3 months. We have around 80 to 100 participants per year, and we offer a really tight-knit community. So it is a program that empowers and inspires. So we offer interactive volunteer placements where you get the chance to make a meaningful difference in Peru. As well, there's opportunities for personal development and leadership experience. Cultural immersion, so you get to learn Spanish. So some of the days we have some Spanish classes. You get to try some new food out, as well as visit Machu Picchu, which of course is wonderful and one of the new 7 wonders of the world. So why fundraise? You're probably here because you're interested in fundraising for your group, but you might be thinking, maybe it's just better if I just give the money myself. It's not worth it. Well, surprisingly, people really do want to donate. A lot of people can't go on a trip like this, and so they want to help you on your way because you're able to go. And it's their way of giving back without actually going on the trip. So it's important to give people that opportunity, and they really do want to help you. As well, it helps raise awareness. So we're all here because we want to make a difference down in Peru and probably at home as well. And so it raises awareness for the cause and for Solidarity in Action as a whole, which is really important, and it kind of spreads it out and so that more people learn about it. And then lastly, money shouldn't be the only reason that you can't go on the trip. So personally, I would be so upset if someone wasn't able to go on the trip because they didn't have enough money. And so fundraising is a great option if you can't afford to go on a trip like this, and it'll just help you out so much. So don't let that stop you, and hopefully this webinar will be the first step on your way to getting a really good idea of how you can best fundraise to make that extra money. So ideas for fundraising. So we're going to go through 4 main categories of the ideas for fundraising to give you a little bit of an idea of some things that you could do. So the first idea is hosting a big event. So this type of large event would be something where you would probably only have one of these events for your whole fundraiser. So an idea would be a dinner or a dance or something large where you would be bringing people out to the event. Another idea would be personal. So writing letters to family and friends is always a great idea. And in these letters, you would include things like why you're going on the trip and a little bit about the organization that you're going with, and then explaining how they can help you out. As well, posting to social media and asking for donations. So if you set up a giving page, which we'll be learning how to do at the end of the webinar, you can post a link to this and people can donate online to your trip. Furthermore, you can talk to groups that you're a part of, such as a church or a club. They know you well, and you can talk to them a little bit about why you're going, and again, give them the opportunity to donate, whether it's in person or online. And going to local Lions or Rotary clubs is also a good idea. So they oftentimes will sponsor a lot of people who are interested in going on a trip like this. And again, it's just bringing them the information. SIA can provide you with a donation letter that you can do that with to bring them the information a little bit about the organization, and then explaining to them why it would be beneficial for you to go, as well as why it would be beneficial for them to support you. So another idea would be sales. So not just the traditional sale of bake sale where people come out to the sale and you man a booth and they come and buy from you. You can also think outside of the box. So I know one girl who came on the trip with me last year, she made homemade pierogies and she had a sale. And all she did was create an event on Facebook and with the price and the kind of pierogies that she was making, and she had so many orders come in that she had to cap it because she didn't have enough time to make that many pierogies. So just thinking outside the box, thinking, what am I good at? What could I do? So is it knitting or crocheting headbands, or maybe you don't, make bracelets or make something, but you have a service like shoveling driveways or mowing lawns or anything like that, that you can sell to people so that they can get something from you while they're also supporting your trip. And then the last one is an online giving page. So as I said before, I'm going to be showing you how to do the online giving page at the end of the webinar. But basically, an online giving page is set up. You can set it up through Canada Helps, and you link it to your personal things like an email you could send out to all your contacts or Facebook, and that way people can donate right online to you. Okay, so what can SIA do to help? So you've heard all of these ideas and you might be thinking, wow, that seems like a lot, but we are here to support you with what you need. So the first thing we can do is provide a donation letter. And so what this letter does is this letter gives a little bit about what SIA is and just shows people that you are fundraising for an actual organization and an actual registered charity. And this would be helpful when you're fundraising for the cost of your trip, as well as if you bring any donations down with you. We can also provide you with or help you to make a presentation about solidarity in action. So if you want to give the people who you're targeting your fundraiser towards a little bit more information about SIA, you can email the emails, and the contacts are going to be coming at the end of the webinar, and you can email them with any questions and they can work with you to help you send a presentation. As well, if possible, if someone's available, if it's close by, we can send people to your event to help out. We can organize a group fundraiser. So this is depends on where you're located and how many participants are around you. But right now we're looking at hosting a group fundraiser at Laurier Brantford. And of course, it would be with participants who are interested. I know there's also a lot of people currently going from the University of Guelph, so we can try and get something like that going. With the help of the participants, doing a group fundraiser could also be beneficial. As well, we do tax receipts for donations over $20. So if anyone donates to your trip over $20, they can get a tax receipt. People love getting that, so it's perfect. And then the last thing is you can set up a meeting with your program leader or myself to discuss fundraising options. So we can kind of flesh out your different ideas and go through the different things of what you would be interested in running and kind of work through it and how we think that it would best work and use each other to work out all the details. So now I'm just going to go over steps that make a good fundraiser, and I'm going to use the fundraiser that I ran last year before my trip to Peru as an example. So the first step to picking a good fundraiser the first step to running a good fundraiser is to pick a good fundraiser. So that means picking something that fits the audience. So, for example, what I did to fundraise my trip was I held a dinner at my church, and it was a ham and scalloped potatoes dinner. And so I knew that the large majority of the people already attended stuff like this, dinners like this at the church. And so this seemed perfect. And that goes to the second point, which is don't feel you have to pick something new. You don't need to reinvent the wheel when you're looking at your fundraiser. You can pick a tried and true program like I did with the ham and scalloped potatoes dinner, which was a staple at our church and is usually run every year. Um, Food is usually something people like. So a good enticement to get people out is if you can give them something for their money. So with my fundraiser, with the $10 they paid for their ticket, they also received the meal. And so it wasn't like they were just donating, they were getting something from themselves out of it. Other ways you could do this would be to have a raffle or snacks at your event or something like that to draw people out. So most importantly, just knowing your audience and picking a fundraiser that really fits them. So if you're looking at university students, you want to pick a fundraiser that costs probably less money. Something where they had to pay like $45 a ticket isn't going to work. You want to keep it a little bit lower. The second step is advertising. So, a big part of advertising, again, goes to knowing your target audience. So, trying many different ways. So, creating Facebook's events, personal invites, emailing your contact lists, posters, and getting your story in the local newspaper are all great ways to do this. So, again, as I said, targeting this to your audience. So, if you're targeting to older people, you might not necessarily make a Facebook event, which was the case for me. And instead, I made the poster like the one that is pictured on the slideshow here. As well, I had my story put in the paper. So it just started by asking the local paper for an advertisement to advertise a little bit um, about what my event, just a short thing, and they ended up writing a full article in two separate papers, and then it was linked to the Laurier website. So that's a really great way of just letting people know not only about your fundraiser, but also about the cause. Posters are always good, but make sure you use short and catchy posts and posters, things that will draw people's attention. Don't, go off in big paragraphs that can come later. These are just supposed to let them know about the date. And again, just going with your audience and letting SIA know too. And we can post as well. So we have our Facebook and our Twitter. And if we know you have a big event coming up, we can post it on there. So maybe a couple more people will be able to find it out. So just trying many different ways and just keep doing it and doing it. If you're doing it on Facebook, as people say, spam Facebook, it really does work. So just keep trying and never giving up. So the third thing is to use your resources. So I could never have pulled out the fundraiser that I did without the help of my parents, who are actually attending the webinar right now. And I needed to make sure that I had a good group of friends and family to help me. So, for example, in my case, many of the people from the church donated the scalloped potatoes as well as the pies to keep the cost of the fundraiser down. So, using this group of friends and your family to help you to keep the cost down and to help you run the event so that you don't need to get people that you might have to pay or to try and do it all on yourself. And that goes along with connections. So, use your connections for the venues and to get supplies. So, for example, I held the dinner at my church. And in exchange for doing that, when I returned from Peru, I was able to go back to the church and do a presentation on what I learned and how important and impactful the experience was. And so that was in exchange for getting to use the venue for free. As well, supplies. So if you know people who own local businesses and stuff like that, trying to get them to help you out, this is where the donation letter that Solidarity in Action provides can help you with, because you can bring this donation letter to local businesses and say, I'm running a fundraiser, would you help me donate supplies? So again, for example, in my fundraiser, I went to the local No Frills and they donated $100 gift card. And with that gift card, what they were able to do was I was able to buy many of the supplies to keep the cost of the food down. And that would be the same thing for prizes. So if you were looking at having a raffle prize or a door prize, going around and asking people. So just using your resources, you're not in this alone. The fourth thing is to explain the cause. So know your stuff about the trip. You can ask us if you have more information, but people really want to know what they're donating to and why it's important to donate. So if you can let them know, why you're going, about solidarity in action, some ways to do this would be to include a link to the website in all of your advertising. So if you're sending out a post on Facebook or an email to your contacts, link the website to it and they can go and explore and see if it's a cause that they would be interested in donating to. As well as having an info booth before is always a good idea. So providing people with a little bit more information. What I did was I made announcements at the church with a little bit of detail behind what the organization was about. And if people, you can always invite people to come and talk to you to learn about it more as well. But people are much more willing to donate if you explain the cause because they are interested in knowing what their money's going towards. And offer an alternative. So give people a link to your online giving page so they can donate online, or offer to have coffee with them and get the money from them that way. So if you were emailing out people and they couldn't come, that's when you would link them their giving page and say, oh, like, I'm upset that you can't attend, but here's another way that you can donate. Thank you so much for your support. And this way, just because they maybe live far away or they're working or they're busy that day, they can still donate and support you. And the sixth thing is to believe in yourself. So, fundraising really is a viable option for your trip, as evidenced by the fact that I was able to fundraise my trip. You can do it. Just focus your efforts, choose your audience, and accept nothing less than success. So, when I did my fundraiser, I was a little worried I wasn't going to get enough money and how was I going to pay for this trip? And my mom said to me, no, we're going to do it. And we expected nothing less than success, and it worked out in the end. And then the last thing, which isn't on here, is just thank everyone. So even if they email you back and say, I can't donate to you, just thank you so much for taking the time to email me back anyway. And if they do donate, making sure you're thanking them and you're appreciative of all the help that you have. So that brings us to the end of the formal presentation part of the the webinar. Solidarity in Action website and click the donate button. And then once you get there, it's going to load, and then you come down to donate online, and it says donate through canadahelps.org. So what you're going to do is you're going to click giving pages here, and then you're going to go to the side here that says create a giving page. Oh, I guess I should, well, I was logged out. Okay, just 1 second. So I'm going to log out of mine because we don't need. So you're going to go giving page, create a giving page. And then it says here, don't have an account yet, create one. So you're going to go on, register with Canada Helps, and you're going to create a giving page account. And then it takes you here, and this is where you can register, and it'll set up your profile. So I'm not going to go through and make a profile with you. I'm going to show you what to expect once you get on. So now you've registered, and I'm just going to pull up. Oh, no, this one. Perfect. So this is what it's going to look like once you've registered. So it's going to say welcome and your name, and you're going to go over to the side and you're going to click create a giving page. So once it's created your account, you make a specific giving page. So I'm going to log in here with my account information. So you would log in with your account information, and then it's going to take you to a spot here where you click the type of page. So you would put the type of page is other event / occasion, and you would fill out all this information. It gives you a chance to put your page title. So you might put something like Solidarity in Action Trip to Peru. You put your personal message, your fundraising goal, and you can choose whether or not you want to display a couple other things, and then a message to the charity. So in the message to the charity, you would write, this money is going towards Lauren Dunlop's trip to Peru. So then it takes you through and you fill it out. But I already have this, so I'm going to go to my own giving page. So then once you filled out your giving page, you're going to be able to see, so it's going to take you to a page that looks like this. Yeah, giving pages. I don't know why it's okay, perfect. So I can go to my giving page that I've already created. So once you want to manage your giving page, you would go to manage, and then it just lets you add your charity, update any information. And when you add your charity, you would obviously choose Solidarity in Action, and then you can put a picture of yourself so people know they're donating to the right person. And it gives you a charity list so you can search for your charity here. And that would be that. Does that make sense for everyone? If this doesn't make sense or that was too confusing, can you please type in the chat now? Okay. So it looks like that made sense to everyone. So at this point in time, I am going to unmute Larry as well so he can help answer any of the questions that need. And you have the opportunity to ask any questions that you have about fundraising. And then I will go to frequently asked questions if you can't think of any at this point in time. So I'm just going to unmute Larry here so he can answer any questions as well. So does anyone have any questions? You can type them in chat or you can ask them. Yeah, so you can type your questions in chat if you have any. Okay, so while you're thinking about questions, maybe I'll ask one of the frequently asked questions and just to get people thinking. So, can I fundraise my whole trip or only part of the trip? So, yes, the answer is you can fundraise as much of the trip as you would like. So, you can try to fundraise your whole trip or only part. It's completely up to you. Does anyone have any other questions at this time? Okay, so we will ask another one of the frequently asked questions then. So, can I do group fundraisers or do they have to be on my own? So the answer again is yes, you can of course do group fundraisers, but obviously you have to split the money with the people, and that's something that you would have to organize amongst yourselves. So if you're interested in doing that, you can do that as well. So another question here is, how do the tax receipts work and how much are they? So, and how much do you get a tax receipt for? So, tax receipts work that everyone who donates over $20 gets a tax receipt. And there's two ways of doing it. So, if you if you if you're choosing to have an online giving page, the people fill out the information right there, and Solidarity in Action is able to give them a tax receipt right from there. The other option for tax receipts is to have the people give you their information when they're donating to you in person, and you keep a collected list of all of the people that donated to you, and then you hand with their address and their phone number and how much they donated, and you hand that in to you hand that donated information in to SIA, and then they'll send you back the tax receipts the next February, and you distribute them yourselves. So hopefully that made sense. And again, if you need clarification or anything like that, please sign in to the chat and ask any questions that you have. Okay. So there's not anything here now. So I'm going to ask the next frequently asked question. Is how do you ask someone to use a facility or to use resources? So it can always kind of be that awkward moment where you're not sure um, how to ask or to approach somebody. So a good way to do it is to start with the donation letter that Solidarity in Action provides, as well to approach them yourself and just to talk to them. So if you're looking at booking a space out at a university or a school, a good way to kind of do that is to look on their website first and to see if there's any targeted ways that you can do that. So whether it's they have a link to an online form that you fill out or an email provided. So doing a little bit of research first and then either calling or emailing them or following the procedure. If it's a place like a church or a hall or something like that, that's when you should be going in and meeting with them and showing them the donation letter and stuff like that. So again, I hope that makes sense. If you have any more questions, please ask in the chat. Is there a time limit of getting in the money? No, there is no time limit to get in the money. As long as you meet the deadlines that Solidarity in Action requires um, for your checks, then you can take money from people after because it can be used to pay you back. So um, they'll be able to pay you back after. So it's okay if it goes past the trip. So for example, even though I had to hand in my trip money at the beginning of April, my fundraiser was a little bit later, but I just used it to help pay it back after. And the last frequently asked question that I have now is, can you fundraise multiple ways? And again, the answer for that is yes, of course. So you can choose to fundraise multiple ways. I would suggest maybe sticking to a few of just less is more. So if you're going to do a big fundraiser, like a big dinner or something, sticking with that and then adding in just the personal to that is probably better, just because you might get overwhelmed or not all of yours will be as successful. So trying to stick to just picking a few is good. Um, okay, so does anyone have any other questions that they would like to type out or ask, anything like that? Even if you would like to throw out an idea that you have for some feedback, I'll let you. I'm just going to give just like a little bit of time for people to type it out if they do have it, and then if not, Oh, okay. We have something here. Okay, so we have a question here that says, are there any particular places that are familiar with SIA donations? So we've had a little bit of trouble with our panelist. He got booted off the system. So 1 minute, please. So we're just awaiting an answer from Larry. But what I can say to you right now, that I know for sure at least, is that when you're looking for donations as far as um, Lions or Rotary clubs, they would be familiar with students asking these types of questions. Maybe not specifically for SIA, but for other organizations as well. If you're looking to get your donations, so you have the option of bringing in donations to people. You have the option of bringing a suitcase full of donations such as toys and educational supplies and health supplies. The dentist is a great place to go because they're very willing to give money as well. um, it as if you bring your donation letter, that's what it's for. um, And I just got confirmation here from Larry, who said that he knows of Rotary clubs and Lion clubs in the past that have donated on behalf of participants. So there have been, those are really good places. They would definitely be familiar with it. Does that answer your question? If you need further clarification, just type in the box and we can go from there. So just wait and see. Okay. Hopefully that made sense then, since I don't see anything else. Okay, so I'm just going to give a really quick wrap-up spiel. Feel free to ask any more questions if you still have them while I'm just wrapping up. So again, just the most important thing is we would love to have you on the trip, and we don't want money to be what's stopping you. So please, please, please email us with anything that we can get for you. I'm going to leave this page up here for a minute so that you can look. Here's the contact information for Solidarity in Action. Um, there's our Twitter, our Facebook, our website, there's our email, and then there's also my personal email. So if you would like to meet to get together to kind of flesh out an idea or something like that, please feel free to contact me with anything that you need. I would just like to thank everyone so much for coming and listening to the webinar, and I hope that you feel a little bit more comfortable with the fundraising part of the trip. And with the money situation. And again, like I said, if you're passionate about it and you want to have the experience of a lifetime, please don't let money stop you. And I'm really looking forward to hopefully having a couple people more people sign up and to come out the trip of a lifetime.